The world is full of urban legends, remarkable stories that spread like viruses around the planet, mutating and evolving until no one can remember which ones are true and which ones are urban legends. This episode is called Welcome Home. In it, you'll see 3 stories featuring people who come back to an unexpected welcome. First, material girl Cassie Vanderbeek proves that revenge is a dish best served cold. Then student Sarah Williams goes out on a date, but wakes up to a terrible fright. And finally, computer store owner Mark Johnston brings home more than just a nice tan from his foreign vacation. Watch all 3 stories and decide which ones are true and which ones are false. Find out if you guessed right at the end of the show. First, it's a story we've named Breaking Up Stinks. It's easy to get sucked into the rat race in Chicago, Illinois. Some people spend their lives chasing promotions, flashy cars, and swanky addresses. Meet material girl Cassie Vanderbeek. She loves to live the high life in her luxury downtown condo.
I found the place. I decorated it, and I loved this place.
Cassie used to share the condo with her fiancé, but discovered something fishy going on that turned her life upside down. On July 14th, 2004, Cassie leaves work early to celebrate her 30th birthday with her fiancé.
I walked into the condo, and on the coffee table was my best friend's purse. I kind of thought that was a little weird.
She hears voices coming from another room.
So I went to the bedroom, and I opened the door and saw Tom, my fiancé,
baby,
and Mindy, my best friend, on the bed.
It's not the birthday gift Cassie was hoping for.
Obviously, I never meant for Cassie to find us, in the bedroom like that. It's not what you think.
At first, I was really hurt, and then I got really angry.
What are you talking about?
Calm down, relax.
Cassie throws love cheats Mindy and Tom out of the apartment.
I couldn't believe that he had done this to me.
But she's not heard the last from her now ex-fiancé.
So I get a phone call a couple hours later, and it's Tom. Hello. I'm thinking he wants to, work something out, but no. He's telling me he wants the condo.
Tom has been speaking to his lawyer.
It's my name on the lease. It's my legal right to be there. I signed the checks. So I should get the place.
He tells Cassie she has 1 week to pack her things and move out.
So finally, I was just like, you know what? I'm so over you, and I just want you out of my life. You can have the condo.
But Cassie's not giving up that easily. She hatches a plan to get the condo back and wreak revenge on her cheating ex.
A couple of days later, I was gonna have a dinner party for my friends. We had shrimp, fish, pate, some great wine. We had such a good meal. We finished dinner, and that's when I kind of had an idea.
Cassie is cooking up a dish called revenge. The following weekend, happy new couple Tom and Mindy move into the condo. But there's bad news in the air.
And all of a sudden, this bad odor just hit my face. And the whole place just stunk. And I'm thinking, where the hell's this coming from, right?
They search for the source of the stench, and Tom thinks he knows who's responsible.
I know Cassie did something. I know she did. Because when I was there, I know the place didn't smell like that.
Try as they might, they can't find the origin of the odor. So Tom seeks professional help.
He goes throughout the whole house. But he can't find the smell.
All he can do is spray the condo with odor suppressant.
It wasn't working because even after he's done, I still smelled something. And I just felt like I wasted my money for nothing.
The stench is overpowering, and neither Mindy nor Tom can take it any longer.
Yo, if Cassie wants the place, she can take it, because I don't want to deal with this anymore.
It wasn't very long after that I did get a call from Tom.
Tom tries to play it cool.
I'm like, oh, Cassie, you know, it's too painful living here, and, you know, with all the memories of you and me here, blah, 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 whatever, you know.
He wanted to give me the condo, and he wished me well. And I was very sympathetic. I said, you know, thank you for thinking of me, and I was thrilled.
Tom gives the stinky condo back to Cassie, and it's all thanks to some hidden housewarming gifts she left on the night of her dinner party.
We unscrewed the curtain rods and stuffed the fish and the shrimp inside there, and everything that we could think of.
It wasn't just the curtain rods. The girls slipped fish inside the backing of Tom's favorite painting.
That was kind of good.
Tom and Mindy move out, and Cassie is on hand to enjoy the sweet smell of revenge.
The best part of the whole thing is they were actually taking the furniture with them. I guess they really wanted those curtains because the curtain rods were leaving as well. It was all going to their new place. I think it all worked out in the end.
So is this tale of yuppie revenge the truth, or just a bunch of stinking lies? Find out at the end of the show. But before then, take a look at this mini-myth. Mini-myth number 72, the Sleepy Burglar. One night in Burnley, England, Michelle Robinson tucks her daughter in, checks the doors are locked, and goes to bed. The next morning, there's a weird noise coming from the living room. Suspicious, Michelle tiptoes to have a look and is shocked to see a strange man sleeping on her couch. Michelle immediately phones the police. The cops arrive and apprehend the sleepy burglar. In his pockets, they find Michelle's jewelry and a bunch of candy. So, did this really happen, or was it just a dream? It's true. Burglar Michael Bolton, not the singer, took a tranquilizer prior to committing the robbery, and he fell asleep before he could finish the job. On Urban Legends, we show you 3 far-fetched stories. You must choose which ones actually occurred and which ones are simply a sham. So far, you've seen the tale of Cassie Vandebeek, who evicted her cheating fiancé with her own fishy brand of chemical warfare. But is it fact or fantasy? Find out at the end of the show. Now it's time for our next story. It's called Lights Out. College is a place where life-changing experiences await every new batch of fresh-faced students. None more so than for Sarah Williams. It's here in Boston that she met the love of her life, Blair Robson.
I met Blair in my first month. He was older, he played in a band. He sort of blew me away.
She was quite a bit younger than me, but we just really clicked, you know?
During her first semester, Blair and Sarah shared a grisly experience that would haunt them both forever. In October 2003, Sarah shares a 1-bedroom apartment with fellow freshman Jennifer Atwell.
I didn't know my roommate Jennifer when I first moved in. I answered an ad she put up for someone to share her apartment. Jennifer was sort of the opposite of me. She liked to stay home a lot. She'd study. It was really important to her to get good grades.
Tonight, Sarah has plans to go out.
I asked her if she was going out later. She said she might go out later if she finished her essay in time.
So Sarah bids goodnight to her bookworm buddy and heads out to meet her boyfriend, Blair.
We were having drinks and just talking and having a good time.
After a few drinks, the lovebirds decide to take the party elsewhere. They arrive back at Sarah's apartment and discover Jennifer as a mystery house guest.
When I opened the door, it hit boots, men's boots.
And we heard some kind of commotion, so we knew there's something going on.
The only thing separating the two couples is the flimsy curtain dividing the shared bedroom.
So we figured, they're having fun.
We might as well, too.
Leaving the lights off, Sarah and Blair make out on her futon, hoping not to interrupt Jennifer's intimate encounter.
Woke up the next day. Sarah got me a cup of coffee. She told me she was making eggs and she's gonna make some breakfast for us.
And that's when I noticed that the boots, they were gone.
Jennifer's shoes are still there, but her mystery caller hasn't hung around for breakfast.
So Sarah was in the kitchen cooking the eggs and she dropped the bowl. Just crash.
I thought I was gonna wake Jennifer up.
And I figured the curtain's gonna get pulled in about a second because there's no way she didn't hear that.
There's no response from Jennifer's side of the room.
I didn't wake her up at all. It was weird.
And there was no sound. So Sarah came out of the kitchen. She called out to Jennifer, just to sort of apologize.
Jen. But there was no answer.
So Sarah decides to investigate.
So I opened the curtain. And that's when I saw it. Blair ran over to see.
I saw Jennifer. Her hands were tied. Her throat had been cut.
She was just soaked in blood.
Horrible.
And then I looked at the wall. There were words written in blood.
It was a message for Sarah and Blair.
Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?
Terrifyingly, the killer committed this horrific crime while the unsuspecting couple made out, just the other side of the curtain.
Who would do such an awful thing?
So is this story terrifyingly true, or is it just a horrible hoax? Find out at the end of the show. But before that, check out this mini-myth. Mini-myth number 908. Killer Weenies. Nevada, summer of 1981. Teenage campers set up tents in a national forest. They want to roast hot dogs while they tell ghost stories around the fire. So one young camper takes his knife, slices off branches from a nearby shrub, and strips them to use them as skewers. In the morning, the whole camp is quiet. Everyone is dead. What they didn't know is the branches they used to roast weenies were from the oleander plant, and it's deadly poisonous. But is this camping calamity true, or is it just a fireside fairy tale? It's false. Tales of fatal oleander poisoning have been around since the late 1800s. But oleander can only kill you if you eat the leaves rather than the stalks. On Urban Legends, we show you 3 amazing stories. See if you can spot which ones are for real and which ones are phony. So far, you've seen the tale of Cassie Vandebeek, who took revenge on her cheating ex by filling his belongings full of rotting fish. And the story of Sarah Williams, who found a roommate lying murdered beneath a chilling message left by the killer. Which of these stories are the genuine article? All will be revealed at the end of the show. It's time for our final story. This one's called Tough Itch to Scratch. Life in Bayou Vista, Texas is like being on permanent vacation, but without the dangers of having to live in a foreign country. It's home to people who just want a quiet life. Meet local computer store owner Mark Johnston.
The computer store, we've had it there about 25 years. So we have a good word-of-mouth advertisement.
In December 2000, Mark's peaceful life is shattered by a Christmas gift he'll never forget.
It was Christmas time at the computer store, and we're busy as heck getting all the new computers ready for all the customers.
But Mark is not feeling well at all.
I started having these weird pains every few hours. It's as though you put your finger in a light socket or something, and it's just horrible.
To make matters worse, the pain is coming from a very sensitive area.
The pain wasn't in my fingers or my legs, it was kind of in a private area, you know what I mean? My family jewels area. Nether regions down there. Being a male, I didn't want to go to the doctor, I just postponed it.
Mark's wife, Brenda, witnesses one of his attacks.
Finally got to the point where I was noticing it and the customers were noticing it.
She demands to check the problem area and sees an open wound.
It's like a little hole, and it oozes just a little bit of clear liquid mixed in with some blood.
Neither Brenda or Mark know what has caused the oozing hole.
Brenda looked up at me and says, "Enough is enough."
She takes Mark to see their family doctor.
He examines me and says, "Well, Mark, I think you just have crab lice."
Brenda fears the worst.
I'm thinking, lice, crabs, where would you have gotten that from? Has he been cheating? Is there something going on that he's not telling me about? Has he been unfaithful and that sort of thing?
She casts her mind back to their recent vacation to Costa Rica. Was that waitress a little too friendly with Mark?
Knowing the symptoms that he had, I pretty much figured out that he wasn't being unfaithful, that, the doctor was just wrong.
Mark's marriage might be safe, but his painful attacks continue.
I said, that's it. We need to go to the emergency room.
At first, doctors have no idea what the problem could be. Eventually, Mark is seen by a urologist who has a radical and horrifying diagnosis.
Some type of tropical disease where a bug bites you, lays a larva inside you, and then the larva grows.
When Mark tells the doctor he's just vacationed in Central America, he is rushed into surgery.
So now, there's my family jewels out for all to see.
After 20 long minutes of cutting into Mark's scrotum, the surgeon suddenly stops.
Dr. Rodriguez looks up at me and says, "Oh, Mark." And I look at him, and this weird look comes over his face. He gets his tongs, reaches down into my scrotum, clamps them on, and brings up this thing, and everybody stares at it. And he goes, It's alive."
Dr. Rodriguez pulls a live parasitic larva called a botfly from deep inside Mark's scrotum.
I was like, oh my God, how disgusting. I don't know if you've ever seen like a grub worm. They're about an inch big.
They're really nasty looking critters. They've got these little spiral things that appear to be like thorns.
But that's not the end of Mark's ordeal.
Rodriguez says, "Uh-oh, Mark, wait a minute."
Oh my gosh, you've got another one. We're gonna have to go in and remove another one.
A second botfly larva is cut out of Mark's sack.
Finally, the ordeal is over. Brenda looks over at me and says, "Well, yeah, now you know what it's like to have childbirth." I said, "Yeah, honey, but I had twins."
So was that story painfully true, or did you think it was rashly ridiculous? You don't have to wait much longer to find out. All will be revealed after this final mini-myth. Mini-myth number 631, Thar She Blows. August 1972, while at sea, a fire breaks out on a Swiss freighter carrying a load of timber on its deck. While trying to keep the blaze at bay, the ship heads for safe harbor in Wales. The crew then spends 3 days pumping thousands of gallons of water onto the inferno. Meanwhile, in the hold, the heat and water from the fire above is slowly cooking and expanding 1,500 tons of tapioca. Fire chiefs warn this tapioca time bomb can burst a steel hole and sink the ship. So they evacuate the area. Is this a true tale, or did we just cook it up? It's true. The ship didn't sink, but it was badly damaged, bent out of shape by enough tapioca to fill 1 million dessert plates. It's time to reveal the truth about our 3 amazing stories. First up, it's the tale of Sarah and Blair, the couple who made out while a crazed killer cut up their roommate and then left them a chilling message. Is this story true, or just part of freshman folklore?
This is a false story.
Hitting peak popularity in 1997, this urban legend is told as a cautionary tale to freshmen at universities across the globe. What about the story of Mark Johnston, the man whose crippling groin pain turned out to be caused by 2 parasites eating away at his 2 cojones? Is it true or false?
My name is Mark Johnstone, and this is a true story.
Mark's painful tale is completely true. He's even known locally as the Botfly Man.
And that was one tough itch to scratch.
Which leaves the story of Cassie Vandebeek. After catching her fiancé cheating, Cassie got her revenge by using her own special brand of chemical warfare to evict him from their luxury condo. But is it the truth, or does it just stink of lies?
It never happened. If that had been me and I came home and saw my fiancé having sex with somebody, I would have thrown him out the window.
This urban legend was first recorded in the late 1970s. Other tales of rotting seafood revenge appear in literature, television, and the movies. That's the end of our episode called Welcome Home. Were you able to separate the true stories from those without foundation? Don't worry if you couldn't. You'll get another chance to flex your myth-spotting muscles in the next installment of Urban Legends.